So good morning, Hannah.
Good morning.
It's good to see you today.
It's good to see you too.
Yeah. Are you enjoying the weather? It's a little sunnier out today.
It's sunnier out today, which I am appreciating. I'm kind of tired of the rain.
Yeah, it's been just downpouring.
Yeah, I know. I guess that's March.
Yeah, March. Well, it's good to hear that you're having a good day today. I wanted to start out the session by just checking in with how your journaling assignment went.
Well, so I definitely, it kind of tapered a little bit, I'll be honest. I started heavy in the beginning of the week and then just kind of gone down towards the end of the week. But yeah, it's my understanding of the assignment was to talk about like my connections between how the situation with this guy whose name is Ben. I don't know if you needed that. I don't know if I've said that yet.
Yeah, no, thanks.
Ben. And the connection with my mother, because we kind of talked about that last week. And yeah, it's been difficult.
Yeah.
This week. I guess, I mean, I know I kind of should have expected this, but like writing things down and then it's bringing it out like into my world and yeah, it's been just hard emotionally this week because of that, but like good, but yeah, hard.
Yeah. I mean, sticking your toe into the water of emotions when it's unfamiliar, like, yeah, your system's going to get a little shocked.
Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely how it's felt. It's just like being emotional when I wasn't before, or having, day-to-day things that are part of my routine and having this extra piece. It's really tiring. Like, I've been sleeping a lot this week.
Yeah. Yeah, so you've felt more emotionally exhausted, which has translated to some physical exhaustion too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So it's been hard and exhausting. I'm wondering if there's any insight you gleaned from it in the midst of that difficulty.
Well, I mean, I guess I'd say that there's a lot more connections than I realized. Just with kind of, I don't really know how to explain it that well, of just the way that I'm feeling, I guess, is very similar.
Yeah. Definitely
not quite the situations, but I guess the where I feel it in my body, like having this tight chest feeling when I'm in like the situation with Ben, or I can remember situations with my mom where it's been like this is so weird and ick.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just noticing that a lot more.
Yeah, so you're noticing the emotional connection between the two experiences.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So what emotions would you identify as being in both places? You said icky and uncomfortable and those kind of things, but I'm wondering if there's any more that you've found. No is an okay answer too.
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
I'm trying to think of it. I'm not very good at naming them.
Okay.
So, like, I could give you the emotional response or the way it makes me look or feel, I think.
Yeah.
But, yeah, kind of like just anxious and just not good feeling, not happy feeling. That's not very descriptive.
If you could enact it physically, you said anxious is maybe the icky, like the tight
feeling.
What would be the not good one for you? Where are you feeling it in your body, or how would you?
It's like in my stomach.
So like a pit of the stomach.
Yeah.
Okay. So almost like a dread or like a.
Right.
Yeah.
I think dread is a good word. Of just like I don't want to be in this situation and I don't want it to happen again.
Yeah.
Kind of like keeping it away.
Yeah. So avoiding the situations because they have anxiety and dread in them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Yeah. Well, sounds like you've done some hard work this week. It's really commendable.
Thank you. It doesn't feel commendable, but thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I know negative emotions are never something that we like to address or look at or that feel good, but
Yeah.
I often think of the idea of like sucking the poison out of a snake bite. You have to taste it, get it out before you can be healthy. So it's good, I promise. Even if it's a little uncomfortable, it's gonna be good.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, that's what I'm like trying to keep in my mind.
Yeah.
Is that this is for a purpose and for a reason. I mean, like I've lived this long without having to deal with this,
Right.
But it still keeps popping back up.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's kind of why I'm ready to like go into it a bit.
Yeah.
So
yeah, tired of the symptoms and just want to.
Yeah. Like
it.
I'd love if this could just be fixed. If
this
could just be over.
Yeah,
that would be great.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be awesome. But I'm sure that's not how that works.
If I had a therapy magic wand, I would wave it right now for you. I promise.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Yeah, we'll work on it together. Okay.
Okay.
So transitioning a little bit, we've talked a lot about Ben and a lot about that rejection, and a lot about how that's felt and what it's looked like situationally, and we've touched on some stuff with your mom and how those connections could be there, and how the emotions are similar, and formed some goals from that. Just to remind you of where we were last week, that we talked about getting your emotions into your everyday life, and we're working on that and figuring out the rejection from Ben, and we've done some of that, but I could be wrong, but I feel like we've done a little less of the investigation of your mom and the rejection there, and maybe what your goals would be in a relationship with her. And so I guess I'm wondering how you feel about that, and if that feels like something you want to talk about today.
Yeah, that's fine. I think we kind of, just the way you said it, like situationally, like I feel like we've hit on that a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, we can kind of go into more of that. I feel like maybe this just stems from my situation with my mom, and that's part of it. But I have a hard time like identifying the emotions and like saying them.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where my wall is.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like in some places with that.
Yeah. So in talking about the emotions connected with your mom, you feel like there's a wall in communicating them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So maybe think of maybe a particular experience with your mom where you felt rejection, or you felt dismissed or unseen, and maybe we can just talk about that a little bit and see what's coming up in the moment.
Okay. Let's think here. Which one do I want to use? Well, I'm thinking back to when I lived with my parents.
Right.
And, I mean, nothing was ever, like, overt. Nothing was ever, like, this big thing, this big drama where we had to, say a whole lot or do a whole lot.
Right.
It was all very, like, you had to kind of keep the status quo.
Mm-hmm.
And if you didn't do that, if you actually tried to make things a little more dramatic or tried to say something, you were, like, given, like, a very, like, physical silence. I don't really know how to describe it. But it was, like, the dismissal of you was just so, like, palpable. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I kind of felt like that came from her, that was, like, generated from her more than my father.
Right.
So, like, I can think back to times of, like, me being a teenager, being dramatic or being whatever.
Yeah.
And for some reason, the kitchen always comes to mind. That's where, like, we had a lot of our conversations. Yeah, I guess. but yeah, she might have asked me about my day or like, okay, how did things go today? And then be like, oh, well, I had this issue, I had this problem. She'd be like, oh, okay, and like continue reading her paper. Like that's my image of her, is like sitting at the kitchen table, like continuing to read the paper.
Yeah.
I don't know if that kind of answers your question or not.
Yeah, no, it definitely does. That you would share with your mom, that you would open up to her, and whether or not you realized it at 13,
yeah,
be vulnerable with her, and that place that was supposed to be safe was just empty.
Yeah.
That's hard. It's heavy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I definitely didn't feel like it in the moment. It was like, this is the norm. This is what's normal, and dysfunction can feel very normal.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. I mean, I guess again, it's like another piece in my mind is saying like, you're like over 30 and you're just realizing this stuff, or you're just feeling these things, and that's so ridiculous.
Yeah. So it feels ridiculous that you haven't addressed it before.
Yeah. Or like it's just coming to me now.
Yeah. Why do you think that is?
That I feel ridiculous?
Yeah, either that or anything.
Why does it feel ridiculous? I guess just that I should have done this already.
Mm.
It should have already happened for me. I guess.
Yeah. What do you think has made you put it off?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know what it could have been.
Yeah.
Maybe just kind of going back to the, what's normal.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just normal.
Yeah. That until something maybe pokes the bear, he doesn't wake up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I do want to take a second to encourage you that a lot of people never address, issues they had with their parents. And no matter when you do it, the fact that you are doing it is very self-aware and very brave. And so even if, it feels like I am 30, like, shouldn't I know myself?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel that, often. I'm a therapist. Why don't I know this? But, the fact that you're addressing it is something you should commend yourself for. And, you didn't have any frame of references for feeling before this, so.
Yeah. That's true.
Now you're learning how.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, right. Okay.
But it wasn't there with your mom.
Yeah.
The feelings weren't there. The acknowledgement wasn't there. The encouragement wasn't there.
Right.
And I heard you mention before, I remember in one of our past sessions, that maybe seeing other people's parents is what drew your attention to the fact that it wasn't there.
Yeah, in college.
Yeah.
That was definitely one of my first kind of inklings of it. I would see my friends with their parents, and it would just be so warm and like happy. And I remember thinking at first, like, oh, this is just for show. Like, this is just because, we're in a different place and they're around people or whatever. But as I got to know my friends and as I got to know their families, it was like, oh, okay, like that realization hit me that it was like,
yeah,
this is just how they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was hard. I remember that being difficult.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, not letting myself, like, wonder why or question my own relationships.
Right. Of just maybe keeping it in different boxes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
Definitely. Like, I saw them and what they had, and I wanted that, but it didn't translate over to my relationships with my parents and my mom.
Right.
So,
yeah, of wanting something but not thinking it could be in your own family.
yeah, or even like connecting the dots.
Connecting it at all.
That it should be, or that it, I don't know,
Yeah.
like anything
Yeah.
like that. But yeah, have like definitely feeling that like, oh, like, that's nice. I want that.
Yeah. That'd be great.
Yeah. So yeah, kind of weird. But yeah, just I definitely remember that being a part of like my college experience.
Yeah. Were you able to find that at all? Find some of that connection and warmth in other families or in other mentors?
Yeah, actually. Like I had a very good friend who I'd go home like for Thanksgiving or something, like kind of like more minor holidays where we didn't have as long of a break because I was across the country from my parents.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like feeling that or having like my friend tell me like, oh, like my parents really loved having you, or you know, are you coming next year? Like that kind of thing. Like having that and having it was weird having like an expectation of like you're a part of this now and we would like you to be there again.
Of being wanted.
Yeah, being wanted or belonging was new to me. So yeah, it was nice. It was good. I definitely like miss having those connections.
Yeah. And having them, you know, taught you that there's something more.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think definitely, like, it was somewhat of a learning experience in that I learned that I could go outside of my family to get that feeling.
Yeah.
Or that I needed to. So, yeah. Because I still, like, go to different people's houses for different holidays and stuff like that, and I have a great time. So, it's kind of that experience.
Have you had any similar experience like that in going home for the holidays to your own parents?
Varying degrees.
Yeah.
Like, my dad and I kind of have more of a, like, I feel like normative relationship.
Yeah.
So, like, I know he's excited to see me, but he's just kind of like a quiet person.
Right.
And we, like, do things, like, together, so I that's how I feel like he wants me there, and we have kind of a connection. And then there's extended family that, like, for the big holidays, like, we might have, you know, my grandparents over, or an aunt and uncle, whatever. But, you know, like, distant relations, you don't really have that, like, connection with. It's more of just like, oh, it's Christmas, and you're my family.
Yeah.
You know, let's all be family together, kind of a thing. So, I don't really have very many cousins. Or anything like that. So, it was just kind of me.
Yeah. So, you're kind of the young one.
Yeah.
You know, being doted over a little bit by the distant relatives, but it's not the same connections.
Right. And that was growing up, and then now it's like the cousins that I do have, they've gotten married and had kids, and my aunts and uncles are much older, you know. So it's kind of, I'm still like in this weird middle section of like not quite belonging into the different groups.
Yeah. So some differences between those experiences are a lack of belonging and a lack of connection.
Yeah.
That maybe you felt in experiences with other families.
Yeah.
Right. What does that feel like in the moment? Not belonging, not connecting?
I guess it feels like home.
Normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It, like, I guess lonely. This isn't like meant to be funny, but like
Right.
expected. Like it's just that's what it is.
Right.
And I know that I need to have my shield up. And I don't even think it's done intentionally, but like that's just what happens.
Yeah, it's how you're protecting yourself from being lonely, from feeling that uncomfortable normal.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense to me. I think it's natural for us to want to protect ourselves from things that hurt us in unsafe situations.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know. It's just to me, and kind of part of this process that I've been feel like I've been struggling with, is just this kind of duality of like, yeah, it's there, but at the same time, it's not there.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I have to have my guard up, and yet I know that nothing's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like no one's gonna yell at me, no one's gonna be mean to me. They're just not gonna talk to me.
Yeah. A lack of action, be it good or bad, just nothing.
Right. So I don't really know what I'm afraid of.
Yeah. So you would say that you're afraid of something?
Maybe. I mean, I have to be, right? There has to be something that I'm worried about. Because I said loneliness, but then I'm kind of thinking about, like, well, is it, if I've experienced it my whole life, like, am I really worried about that feeling? Like, I don't know if I really am.
Yeah.
But I don't know, just kind of like a lack of something. But is it really a lack if I've never experienced it? Like, I don't know. There's just kind of like this weird like thought in my head. I'm not really sure how to express it well.
No, I think I understand that. I mean, this is a little bit of an extreme example, so roll with me. But it's almost like someone who's born blind, right? They've never seen anything. And they know they're missing out on something, but they don't really know what. They're not afraid of someone gouging their eyes out. They don't have any sight, but they still feel like there's something missing, something they're not experiencing that maybe they could have in another experience.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have seen it, like we kind of just talked about. I have seen it with other people.
Yeah.
But still, like a really lack of insight into, like, my own family of like, could this be better or something?
Or what could be there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Well, since therapy is a place for exploration, and we've talked about the miracle question before, right? The idea of what is the ideal, what would be perfect. What would that be for you? What would a holiday look like in the family that you desire? Taking away maybe past and what you think could be possible, but just what you would want.
Wow. So taking away all the things that would negate.
Yes. If everything were better.
Okay.
If I actually had a magic wand.
Okay. Well, like, this is gonna sound silly, but just to start, like, the lights in my family home would be on. Just like things would be bright and warm and welcoming.
Yeah.
I don't know, it just, the whole feel, the whole tone would be different.
Yeah.
If I'm using, like, my friends, going to their homes as an example or a template, like I would walk in and I would be greeted.
Yeah.
And kind of just feeling like I did belong, just feeling like it was, like this was just an extension of myself. That's what my family is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess that would kind of be broad strokes, but
yeah,
that would be what that would look like.
So, feeling warm and invited in, and that you were a part of an entity that was one. That you were a valued part and a needed part of something.
Right. Right. And that, like when, I remember my friends, like I'd walk into their homes with them and everybody would greet them and me, but they would begin to talk and they'd begin to like discuss things that they've talked about in the past and like, because they're all in communication with each other, all that kind of stuff. And, it seemed like for my friends, like this was just stepping into a normal, just back into another part of their life.
Yeah.
That I don't have.
Mm-hmm.
When I go home, it's not like putting on a comfortable pair of shoes. It's putting on like a whole different outfit that looks nothing like me. Like
squeezing into like size 3s.
Like yeah, exactly. Like it just doesn't fit. Isn't comfortable, and yeah, I question why I even like put them on. Like,
yeah.
So
yeah.
Yeah.
So, walking into some place that felt like home.
Yeah.
In the connotative sense.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Not never, but like, I remember like going to college, moving away, and coming back and it not feeling like my home anymore.
Yeah.
Actually, literally not being my home. My parents had moved.
Oh.
At that time.
Well, that doesn't help anything.
That doesn't help anything anyway. But
yeah.
like sleeping on the couch.
Yeah.
And it not being like, this is so not anything, right? I don't even have a room. I don't have a bed.
Yeah.
Just like, and I don't think my parents meant it that way, of course. But
oh, yeah.
Like, this is just one more thing of like, you don't live here.
Yeah, whether it was intentional or not, they made you feel edged out.
Yeah. Yeah. And since then, that's just how it's been.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't belong here. I'm a guest.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, in your ideal family, you wouldn't feel like a guest.
Yeah. Right. And I'm not saying like my parents had to, create a shrine of my bedroom or something like that.
With like all of the trophies
yes,
and
exactly.
like pink walls.
right, exactly. Like that doesn't need to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And even though they moved, like I just wish that, like, oh, we have this for you. Like you.
Yeah. Even if it was a pull-out bed that was prepared or something that has intentionality in it.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I can, like, going back the first time, I can remember, like, not knowing where anything was. Like, and just having to ask. And, like, oh, well, it's, over here. Like, they expected me to know, even though I hadn't been there.
Yeah.
So, kind of that just, like, the intention is that you do it for yourself. But if you have no idea where anything is, like, just, I don't know.
It almost sounds to me like that would be, lower than a guest.
Yeah, it was like it wasn't my place, but at the same time, like I needed to figure it out, which isn't something you do with the guests.
Yeah.
I don't know, weird. So, yeah.
Just to be open with you, I feel very heavy about that. I think of, walking into some place that you want to be welcomed and you want to be cared for, and that not being present, like, that's difficult. I think of, what that must have felt like when you were younger and how that must have translated. And that is hard for me to hear, knowing you and caring about you and knowing that you weren't receiving what you needed.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, I just, being transparent with you, I'm sorry that happened.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what's in my parents' head. It's like,
Yeah.
what were they just thinking? Oh, well, she's my daughter. I don't have to. She just, can go look, like that's her prerogative. I'm not
Right.
sure. I don't know what they were thinking.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Or whether it was just an assumption or something different.
Right. Right. Yeah. So.
Have there been instances where your parents have shown maybe care or welcome or desire to have you around since college, since memories you've had?
Well, my mom doesn't really call.
Yeah.
But she takes my calls, so that's something.
Yeah.
My dad, like I said, he's kind of a quiet guy. So he, I feel like I know, like when I do come to visit or whatever, like I know that he's happy to see me.
Yeah. Because he spends time with you.
He spends time with you, with me,
yeah.
And we talk. Like, he doesn't really. We don't talk on the phone all that often.
Right.
But how's your job? How's life? That kind of stuff. My mom's there generally for those conversations. She doesn't say anything really, but so maybe that's just her way of getting that information without having to ask.
Being physically present.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess that's kind of there, and then I ask about their lives, and they tell me. Yeah, but I don't really know what my parents are thinking, kind of thing. How their wants, their needs. I don't really know what those are.
Yeah, so maybe it's hard to have an expectation or have a context for how they feel towards you when you just don't know.
Yeah. So, yeah, and I don't know, it's kind of, again, just like the unspoken, like, this is just what it is kind of thing. I feel like I would be really rocking the boat if I were tell me about your thoughts and feelings and all your innermost workings, know?
Yeah, and that's not, we've said before, that's not welcome.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so, kind of going back to the miracle question you were talking about, if I did put in, the roadblocks to that miracle, I have no idea how I'd get there, because it's if my ideal was to have parents who talked to me and seemed like they wanted me, I have no idea how that would happen or occur.
Because so much of it is their responsibility.
Yeah, it is. It is their responsibility. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's only so much you can control.
Right.
Well, if they did share with you how they felt or what they were thinking, where they were at in their relationship with you, or what it looked like growing up with you as a child, maybe, what would you want them to say? What would you want to hear from them?
I don't know. I think for my dad, like, that's easier.
Yeah.
Like I just want him to say, like, I'm glad to see you. Instead of just kind of inferring it. I don't know.
Or showing it, rather.
Yeah.
You want him to tell it, too.
Yeah. Just like, I'm glad you're home.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad you're here. I guess that would be nice.
Mm-hmm.
For my mom, I have no idea where we'd even start. Like, maybe just some direct eye contact. Like a smile.
a little bit of one-on-one.
Just like a smile on her face of like, hi, I see you, and I'm expressing that I'm happy that you're here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be nice.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not that never happened. It happened.
Just with enough regularity that you don't bring it up in this kind of situation.
Yeah,
you know?
I guess.
Where it feels normal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, where it feels normal, where it's like, that's not weird. Like, so, or like, you know, I used this example before, but like, with the paper, like, I walked into a room and she put down the paper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be really powerful.
That would be powerful for me. That would be very weird for me.
Yeah. Very weird, out of the norm, but maybe what you need.
Yeah. Maybe.
So, eye contact. Some awareness and reaction to you being around, and some expressed emotion about their happiness in having you there.
Yeah.
I think that sounds pretty reasonable.
Do you?
I do. I don't think that's outlandish at all. I think it is very, very practical.
Oh, I'm not so sure, but we'll go with it. Yeah, I mean, maybe I could talk to them about it, or at least say it. Maybe I could just say it.
Maybe you could nudge the boat a little.
Maybe. I wonder how they'll react, though.
Yeah. What would you expect?
I would expect, I can actually see it. I would expect my father to look down and be like, oh, okay. And I would expect my mom to look away and, like, either look at her paper or, like, oh, like, I don't know, not giving me a reaction. Like, my father, I guess, I don't know if I'm nicer to my father or something, but, like, just the way that I see him doing it is, like, guilty. Like, put his head down.
Yeah.
And then my mom's just like not engaging.
Yeah.
I don't want to make them feel bad.
Right.
I mean, they clothed me, they fed me. I have a good job. I have a reasonably good life. Like, you know, they did a good job.
For your physical needs.
Yeah. For my physical needs. So, yeah. I don't know. I don't really know what they would say, though. I think that's one thing that I'm stumped on is because other than like acknowledging possibly that they heard me, I have no idea like what kind of conversation that would bring or if it would bring anything.
Yeah, maybe there might be a little fear there that you would put it out there that you'd be vulnerable like you were when you were 13 or when you'd gone home for holidays and there would be no reaction.
Yeah. And I mean, I can definitely, like, see that.
Yeah.
I can definitely, like, I know I can take it because it's been there, but it's still, like, we were kind of talking about that armor before. It kind of still makes me put that armor on.
Yeah.
And up.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So it sounds like that armor is coming up when you feel like you're not being cared for, and you feel unwanted or not responded to, not acknowledged.
Yeah. Or like in preparation for it.
In preparation for it.
It's definitely already up by the time that happens.
Yeah.
You know?
Expecting that normalcy.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. And it's really difficult to talk around it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how to do both.
Both of?
Like, have that conversation with the parents but still have my guard up.
Right.
I don't really know how to take the guard down.
Yeah, and it's almost like it has to be down to talk about it.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like it would.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, you definitely have to be vulnerable in order to talk about it.
Right.
But I don't know, maybe not. Maybe I could, like, say it, but then not have it up for their reactions. I don't know. I don't know if that's still good or not.
Yeah, like,
like that's the right
do we
thing.
have an actual, like, garage door opener button?
Yeah.
That we can be like, okay, I'm dead.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I would love an emotional garage door opener. I think that would be beautiful.
Yeah, I think we could work on that.
Yeah. Goals for therapy.
There
Garage
you go.
door opener. No, I think that is a really, really valid question. You know, how can I talk about this but simultaneously protect myself?
Yeah.
And I don't think it's out of the question. I think it maybe looks a little different than what you're doing now. But I don't think that you have to throw yourself into a paper shredder to get what you need.
Okay. Because I think that's part of where my worry comes from.
Yeah.
With just kind of like the idea of talking about this is like, I feel like it has to be all or nothing, which maybe it doesn't have to be all or nothing. Of like, in order to do this, I have to like be 100% vulnerable with them, or I have to be like ready to like take their, silent hits or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
When maybe I don't. Maybe it doesn't have to be all or nothing.
Yeah. I find that most things aren't all or nothing. So maybe this isn't.
Maybe this isn't. Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have just a few minutes left in our session. I'm wondering if maybe we can brainstorm some ways around this this goal of communicating with your parents and finding a manageable, more healthy relationship that gets your needs, like finding what that looks like. I'm wondering if we can brainstorm some ways that you could communicate with them without making yourself totally vulnerable and open to the pain.
I'm not sure because I know that guard is going to be up regardless, so that's there.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if being on the phone with them would be good or if it would not be good.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I'm thinking about. Like in my mind's eye, I'm seeing myself like with them.
Yeah. That seems like that would be the most appropriate setting too.
Right. Yeah, so I mean, like, it might be better if, like, I talk to them together, just because I know if I talk to my mom by herself, it would just be like, oh, and then, like, read the paper and ignore me.
Right.
Or maybe she'll feel more pressure to respond if my dad's there.
Yeah.
And vice versa, maybe he won't feel as guilty
if they're together.
So maybe that would be a possibility.
Definitely with them together.
put them together.
Seemingly maybe in person.
Maybe in person. Yeah.
So it seemed like you had a lot of luck with journaling to address some emotions, to stick your toe in the water and feel some things. I wonder if writing might be a good outlet to communicate to them. Whether it's writing something and sending it to them or writing it ahead of time and reading it.
That might be helpful just because then it's not like I'm unprepared and I don't know what to say, or the way that they react makes me not want to say the rest. Might be good.
Yeah, and it could give you the opportunity to feel those emotions ahead of time and be vulnerable ahead of time, so you can not shut down, but be able to have some space from it when you're communicating the situation. Does that sound like it would be helpful to you?
Yeah, I think so. I think the idea of like being familiar with the emotional response might be helpful for me, especially since I'm kind of still new to this. So
newbie, opening the box a little bit at a time.
Right, exactly. That might be a good way to kind of broach it so that it's not super overwhelming.
Yeah.
Because I can definitely see it being like super overwhelming.
Oh yeah, no, I mean you're bringing emotions in a room with them that they've shunned for the past 30 years of your life. That is extremely overwhelming.
Yeah. So that might be good.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So, we'll probably know where this is going. For homework this week, if you're open to it, which it sounds like you are, how about we write a draft of that letter for your parents? You don't have to plan on reading it anytime soon, or even while we know each other, but maybe just as an experiment to see how those emotions go and what it would feel like reading it. Maybe you can write it and read it to me next session.
Okay, sure.
Does that sound okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Hannah, it was really great seeing you today, and I really enjoyed our conversation. And I hope you have a good week and that the letter writing goes well. Okay. And you can. Sorry.
Not we with the letter. Have a good week.
And you can always call me if you need anything.
Okay.
Have a good week.
Week.